the question was posed, what does your heart break for? So maybe we can start there, Father Brian. Why did that phrase grab you? And what does that then mean for a man who's discerning the call of the priesthood?
Yeah, no, that's great. The image that comes to mind, maybe it seems a little strange, is the little boy on the monkey bars. There's this cry that comes out from the very heart of that little boy that says, "Hey, look at me." And so we might imagine the dad turning around and watching that young boy move from bar to bar. And in that heart of the man is that healthy pride of seeing his child move forward and grow, and also that yearning to protect the child. And I think that for me, as a man, that really connects to that question: what is your heart break for? What are you longing for? What are you desiring? What do you run to? Right? That man is both at the same time proud of the young boy that's in front of him that came from him, if you will, and he also desires to rush toward him and to grab a hold of him if he would fall from those bars. And he wants to see that young boy thrive. And I found, at least over the last year, that question of what is your heart break for come up in multiple contexts in ministry, working with men, so ministry in general, working with men in particular, but also just for myself. How am I really built? What should I be inclining toward in the Lord? And how does he really want to work in and through me? And I think the more, as men, we're able to tap into that, the more likely we are to be able to determine what the Lord wants us to do with our lives, and particularly whether or not diocesan priesthood, or priesthood in general with religious communities and various institutes of consecrated life, is really for us. So I think we tend to start with this notion of, as we're growing as men, as disciples, of I've got to break free of the chains of sin, and that all that's true. But we tend to approach all of that, or I know I did in my own discernment, with this negative approach, like I have to get away from. And at the end of the day, an encounter with the Lord is supposed to be a positive thing. We're meant to run into the very heart of the Lord and then extend the very heart of the Lord out to people. For years, I heard that line from St. John Vianney, and the version of it's like, the priesthood is the heart of the love of Jesus. And I really did not understand that until I got to a point where I began to see in my own life my heart actually exposed for others. And then they were able to encounter the heart of the Lord. When I allowed my priesthood, my ministry, to be about administration, about conveying the sacraments, about doing my duty, it fell flat. When I began to really allow others to see, in an appropriate way, right, but a wounded heart that wanted to be attached to the wounded heart.
Sure, yeah.
Man, ministry and life began to open up, and my ability to discern rightly in my own life took on a whole nother hue.
I'm reminded of St. Thomas Aquinas, who in that moment says, to be vulnerable is to be free. To be vulnerable is to be free.